You did not come across this message for no reason. Something within you may have been searching for an answer long before these words appeared in front of you. A subtle shift has already begun in the area of love and emotional connection, even if you cannot yet point to anything visible in your outer life. Sometimes the deepest changes begin quietly beneath the surface, before circumstances have had the opportunity to reveal them. Think back over the last few days or perhaps the past several weeks. Have you noticed a strange restlessness within yourself? Maybe there has been an unusual pressure in your heart, a feeling that something is approaching, or an emotional movement that you cannot quite explain. Your rational mind may struggle to give it a name, but another part of you seems to understand that something is different. Perhaps an old memory suddenly returned. Maybe your mood shifted for no obvious reason. You might even have experienced moments when you felt as though you were waiting for someone, despite having no idea who that person could be. It is similar to standing beside a closed door and somehow sensing that someone is about to knock. Do not immediately dismiss these feelings. They may be pointing toward an inner transition already taking place. Your conscious mind only sees what has already happened, but your deeper awareness can sometimes recognize a change before it becomes obvious in your circumstances. What you are sensing may be less about predicting a specific event and more about becoming aware of how profoundly your own emotional world is changing, and this is where the story becomes much deeper. There is a person whose path is gradually moving toward yours. Their journey is unfolding separately from yours right now, but the experiences they are having may be preparing them for the kind of relationship they were previously incapable of creating. This is not about obsession, possession, or unrealistic fantasy. The connection being described is not built on someone worshipping you or losing themselves in you. It is something much healthier: recognition, emotional safety, mutual respect, and the feeling of being able to exist honestly beside another person. When this individual eventually becomes part of your life, their presence may feel surprisingly peaceful. Instead of constant uncertainty, there can be a sense of familiarity. Instead of having to prove your worth, you may feel naturally understood. Instead of wondering whether they truly care, their actions will gradually make their intentions clear. For someone who has experienced disappointment before, that possibility can be difficult to trust. Your past may immediately raise questions. What if this is only another illusion? What if I become hopeful and end up disappointed again? What if love simply does not work out the way I want? Those questions are understandable. They come from experiences that taught you to protect your heart. But your previous experiences do not have to become the blueprint for everything that comes next. Every difficult chapter has contributed something to your emotional development. The moments when you felt ignored, misunderstood, rejected, or alone may have forced you to discover parts of yourself that would have remained hidden otherwise. They taught you boundaries. They revealed what you could no longer accept. They showed you the difference between temporary attention and genuine emotional presence. None of that means suffering was necessary or that every painful experience had some predetermined purpose. It simply means you can transform what happened to you into greater wisdom, and that wisdom matters now, because the connection ahead is not meant to resemble the relationships that left you questioning your value. It is not simply about attraction, chemistry, or intense emotions that disappear as quickly as they arrive. It is about a deeper compatibility, one that becomes visible through consistency, honesty, emotional maturity, and the willingness to truly understand one another. But before two lives can meet in the right way, both people have their own inner work to complete. While you continue living your ordinary life, working, studying, handling responsibilities, dealing with personal challenges, another person may be moving through their own period of transformation. You may not see it. You may not even know who they are, yet their life is teaching them lessons. Think of personal growth as a process of sculpting. A person begins with layers of fear, pride, old assumptions, emotional defenses, and unresolved patterns. Life gradually exposes those layers. Difficult experiences force them to question themselves. Disappointments make them reconsider what they once believed about love. Solitude gives them the opportunity to hear thoughts they were previously too distracted to notice. Every lesson can remove another barrier. They may be learning how to communicate instead of withdrawing. They may be discovering that vulnerability is not weakness. They may be realizing that emotional intimacy requires patience rather than control. They may be confronting patterns from their past that once prevented them from maintaining healthy connections. This is important because you do not need someone who simply wants you. You need someone who is capable of meeting you emotionally. There is a difference. Someone can feel attraction and still be unable to offer stability. Someone can miss you and still lack the courage to communicate. Someone can desire closeness while simultaneously running away from it. The person entering your life needs to develop beyond that contradiction. They are being shaped into someone who can recognize what a genuine connection requires. Their transformation may not look dramatic from the outside. It could be as simple as becoming more reflective, spending more time alone, ending an unhealthy relationship, reconsidering old choices, or finally admitting that the life they were living no longer feels authentic. They may be closing doors that once seemed impossible to leave behind. They may be grieving an old version of themselves. They may be discovering that certain relationships were based more on habit, fear, or convenience than genuine emotional compatibility. And through that process, space begins to appear. Space for something different. Space for something honest. There may even be moments when this person feels a strange emptiness they cannot explain. Everything around them might appear normal, yet something feels incomplete. They could experience an unexplained desire for deeper connection, a longing they cannot attach to a particular person. Perhaps they begin dreaming more vividly. Perhaps certain ideas repeatedly appear in their thoughts. Perhaps they suddenly feel drawn toward personal growth, spirituality, emotional healing, or a completely different direction in life. These experiences should not be treated as proof that a particular person is destined to appear. But symbolically, they can represent something meaningful, the psyche preparing to move beyond an old pattern. And that is the deeper message. Before a healthy relationship can become part of your external reality, something inside both people has to change. You are not simply waiting for another person. You are becoming more aware of what kind of love actually belongs in your life. The other person is also learning what kind of partner they need to become. That is why rushing the process can sometimes create the wrong outcome. A connection built on unhealed wounds can feel powerful while still being unstable. Intensity is not always intimacy. Longing is not always compatibility. And attraction alone cannot create the emotional safety that a lasting relationship requires. What is being formed here is different. This person will not need you to rescue them from their past. They will not arrive expecting you to repair everything they have refused to face themselves. Their growth must belong to them. And when your paths eventually cross, their ability to appreciate you will come from that inner development. They will notice qualities in you that others may have overlooked. Your patience, your emotional depth, your honesty, the quiet strength you developed through everything you survived. They may recognize that the parts of yourself you once considered weaknesses were actually evidence of sensitivity, resilience, and character. This does not mean they will see you as perfect. Real love does not require perfection. It allows two imperfect people to see one another clearly without constantly trying to change or control each other. That is the kind of recognition that can feel like coming home, not because another person completes you, but because you no longer have to perform to earn their acceptance. And perhaps this is what your current season is really preparing you to understand. You are not being asked to sit still and wait for someone to appear. You are being invited to continue living, keep growing, keep discovering yourself, keep building a life that feels meaningful whether another person is present or not. If someone is meant to become part of that life, they should add to your wholeness rather than become the source of it. The waiting, therefore, is not empty. It can be a period of preparation, reflection, and emotional maturity. Some doors may have closed because they were never capable of leading you where you needed to go. Some people may have disappeared because their role in your story had reached its natural ending. Some experiences may have hurt precisely because they revealed what you could no longer tolerate. And now, something within you is beginning to change. The old version of love is losing its grip. You are becoming less interested in chasing, convincing, proving, and waiting for someone to finally recognize your value. You are beginning to understand that genuine connection does not require you to abandon yourself, and somewhere along this journey, another person may be arriving at the same realization. Their life is teaching them what yours has been teaching you. Their heart is learning what yours has already begun to understand. So if you have recently felt that something is shifting, do not panic because you cannot explain it yet. You do not need to force an answer. You do not need to search desperately for signs. Simply remain present with your own life. Let the future reveal itself through real actions, real choices, and real human connection. Because when something genuine enters your life, you will not have to build the entire relationship out of assumptions. You will be able to see it in the way someone communicates, respects your boundaries, shows consistency, and chooses to remain present. That is where the real transformation becomes visible. Not in fantasy, not in fear, but in reality. And perhaps the most important preparation happening right now is not someone else becoming ready for you. It is you becoming ready to recognize a healthier kind of love when it finally arrives. If this person had crossed your path before they had confronted their own wounds, they might never have been capable of giving you the kind of love you truly needed. Their fear would have spoken louder than their feelings. Their unresolved history would have created distance where closeness was needed. That is why some things cannot be rushed. Sometimes timing is not about delay. It is about preparation. When the right moment eventually arrives, this person may recognize something in you that answers questions they have carried silently for years. They may realize that the kind of connection they once thought was impossible can actually exist. Looking at you, they may understand why certain experiences did not work out and why some chapters had to end. They will not simply notice your appearance. Their attention will move deeper than that. They will recognize your character, your emotional depth, your way of seeing the world, and the strength you developed through everything you have experienced. They will see qualities in you that cannot be measured from the outside, and the preparation is happening on both sides. While you are learning to value yourself without needing outside approval, this person is learning how to show up with greater emotional maturity. While you are establishing boundaries, they are learning to respect them. While you are becoming more secure in your own worth, they are discovering how to love without fear, manipulation, or emotional games. Your growth does not mean you are sitting around waiting for someone. It means you are becoming more conscious of what you will and will not accept. That distinction matters. Every step you take toward healing changes the kind of relationship you are willing to participate in. You become less attracted to confusion, less willing to chase someone who cannot meet you halfway, less interested in proving yourself to someone who refuses to see you, and the person who eventually matches that version of you must grow as well. What lies ahead may not resemble the relationships you have known before. It may challenge many of the assumptions you once carried about love. Instead of being built around possession, insecurity, or dependence, the connection can be rooted in mutual respect and conscious choice. There may be a strange sense of familiarity when you meet, but that does not mean you need to interpret it as literal proof of a connection from another lifetime. Sometimes familiarity simply comes from emotional compatibility. Two people can meet and quickly recognize a quality in one another that feels unusually safe. The relationship will not require either person to disappear into the other. You will remain yourself. They will remain themselves. And somehow, both lives will become richer because of the connection. That is what makes this kind of bond meaningful. It is not simply about having someone beside you. It is about being with someone who encourages you to become more fully yourself. The devotion you experience will also be visible through ordinary moments. It will not exist only in dramatic declarations or romantic promises. You will notice it in the way they listen. When you speak, they will actually pay attention. They will remember what matters to you. They will recognize changes in your mood. They will notice the small preferences you mention casually and remember them later. Not because they are trying to impress you, because they genuinely care about understanding you. You will not constantly feel as though you have to explain yourself from the beginning. You will not need to fight for every moment of attention. You will not need to become louder, more dramatic, or more demanding just to convince someone that your feelings matter. Your presence will be enough to make them pay attention. There may be moments when the two of you sit together without speaking and still feel completely connected. Silence will not automatically mean distance. It can become another form of comfort. They will gradually learn your emotional language. They will understand the difference between when you need encouragement and when you simply need space. They will recognize the things that make you feel appreciated and the things that make you withdraw. And they will treat that knowledge carefully. Because to them, understanding you will not feel like a burden. It will feel meaningful. One of the biggest differences you may notice is that you will no longer have to compete for importance in someone's life. You will not constantly wonder where you stand. You will not feel as though someone is keeping you around only when it is convenient. A healthy partner does not make you audition for a place in their life. They choose you through consistent behavior. They make room for you without demanding that you sacrifice your identity in return. Their affection will not feel like ownership. Their protection will not become control. Their closeness will not require you to surrender your independence. They will understand that loving someone means caring about their well-being while still respecting their freedom. That means they can stand beside you without standing over you. They can support your decisions without trying to make every decision for you. They can care deeply without turning that care into restriction. The relationship will have room to breathe. You will both be able to pursue your own interests, maintain your individuality, spend time alone when necessary, and continue developing as separate people while remaining emotionally connected. That balance is essential, because real love does not require two people to become identical. It creates enough safety for differences to exist. This person will not constantly ask you to become smaller so they can feel bigger. If anything, they will encourage you to expand. Your ambitions will not intimidate them. Your achievements will not become a threat to their ego. Your confidence will not make them feel insignificant. They will be able to celebrate your success without secretly comparing themselves to you. When something good happens in your life, they will want to hear about it. They will be proud of you. And when life becomes difficult, they will not disappear simply because you are struggling. They will not expect you to remain cheerful every day just to keep the relationship comfortable. When you experience disappointment, uncertainty, or self-doubt, they will be able to sit beside you without immediately trying to control the situation. Sometimes support means offering advice. Sometimes it means listening. Sometimes it simply means staying. They will understand the difference, and you will offer that same emotional safety to them. This is where the relationship becomes transformative for both people. You become mirrors for one another, not mirrors that constantly expose flaws, but mirrors that reveal potential. Your honesty may inspire them to become more honest with themselves. Your courage may encourage them to confront something they have avoided. Your emotional depth may awaken their desire to understand their own inner world. They will not grow because you pressure them into changing. They will grow because something about your presence makes authenticity feel worthwhile, and you may experience the same thing through them. Their consistency may teach you that you do not always have to expect abandonment. Their communication may help you stop preparing for the worst. Their respect may show you that boundaries do not have to destroy intimacy. Together, you can create a relationship where growth becomes mutual rather than competitive. Neither person has to become the other's therapist, savior, or project. You simply encourage one another to keep becoming. That is a very different kind of devotion. Even the physical attraction between you may feel different because it will not exist separately from emotional safety. There can be strong chemistry while still being calm. Passion can exist without chaos. Desire can exist without pressure. You can feel deeply drawn to someone and still feel safe around them. That combination is rare because many people confuse emotional intensity with love. But intensity can come from uncertainty. Healthy intimacy feels different. It allows excitement without constant anxiety. It allows closeness without suffocation. It allows vulnerability without humiliation. You will be able to reveal parts of yourself that you normally protect because you will sense that they will be handled with care, and they will have that same freedom with you. Neither of you will need to maintain a perfect image. You will be allowed to have difficult days. You will be allowed to disagree. You will be allowed to change your mind. You will be allowed to continue becoming. That is why this connection can become more than a romantic experience. It can become a space where two people consciously support each other's lives. A relationship like this is not built from emptiness. It is not two incomplete people desperately searching for someone to rescue them. It is two individuals who already possess their own identities, gradually choosing to share their worlds. That distinction changes everything. You do not need another person to make you whole, and they do not need you to make them whole. Instead, the relationship becomes a meeting between two people who are learning how to honor the wholeness already within them. Perhaps that is the deeper preparation happening now. You are not simply waiting for someone to adore you. You are becoming capable of recognizing devotion when it appears in healthy, grounded form. And the person approaching your life is learning the same lesson. They are learning that love is not about possession. It is not about control. It is not about fear of losing someone. It is about seeing another human being clearly and still choosing to treat them with care. That is the kind of connection that does not need to trap you in order to keep you close. It gives you freedom and still gives you somewhere safe to return to. And when two people can create that kind of space for one another, love stops being a battle for security. It becomes a conscious choice made again and again. Maybe what you have been feeling lately is simply the beginning of a deeper transformation. You do not need to chase signs, force a meeting, or convince yourself of what has not yet happened. Let life unfold naturally while you continue growing, healing, and trusting your own intuition. If this message resonated with you, take it as an invitation to remain open without becoming attached to a specific outcome. What truly belongs in your life will reveal itself through real actions, genuine connection, and meaningful timing. And remember, the most important connection you are building right now is the one you have with yourself. When you become grounded in your own worth, you are far better prepared to recognize a healthy and meaningful relationship when it appears. This is Jungian Horizons. Stay open, stay aware, and let the next chapter reveal itself in its own time.